Okay, y'all, it's officially summer, and technically we're on a break.
But we couldn't leave our real fans hanging. When we recharge and get ready for season 2, we're bringing back some of your favorite episodes from season 1.
These are the episodes you loved, shared, and messaged us about. So if you're listening again, enjoy the throwback. And if you missed them the first time, now's your chance to catch up.
They're perfect for summer road trips, lazy afternoons, or if you need just a dose of 80s nostalgia. And hey, share them with someone who loves 80s movies as much as you do so they can join us for season 2.
So grab your shades, settle in, and enjoy the rewind. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Missy, and this is Real Sisters Rewind.
Join us as we go back to the 80s.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Real Sisters Rewind. I'm Missy, and I want to start by thanking all of you real fans who are tuning in again. We love having you with us. And if you're new here, welcome. We're two sisters who absolutely love great movies, and there are none better than those from the 80s. Each episode we dive into all the fun, nostalgia, and behind-the-scenes details of some of the best films from that decade, and today's episode is no different.
If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And just to sweeten the deal, we're sending out Real Sisters stickers to anyone who leaves a review. So take a screenshot and send it to hello@realsistersrewind.com, and we'll send a little love your way.
All right. We have a very special treat today because our special guest is very special. Joining us today, well, you know what, Amanda? I'm going to let you take this one.
Well, thank you. I am so excited about this. In fact, when you were saying that, Missy, I got a little giddy. Joining us today is my best friend from elementary school, Kelli McCloskey.
Woohoo!
Kelli and I have been friends for years. We like to say, oh, we've been best friends since 3rd grade, but technically 4th grade, because in 3rd grade we were still enemies. But she is finally here.
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrible.
Well, you're part of the story, sister.
I know I am.
But she is here with us today on the podcast. I'm so excited, Kelli. Welcome to Real Sisters Rewind.
Thank you so much for having me. I have been waiting for this day, and I cannot wait to dive into today's movie with you both.
Yay.
It's going to be such a fun episode today with Kelli here. She's going to bring, you've got that love of spooky movies. And so I know you'll have lots to add. So ladies, let's get ready to head back to 1984 for this week's film, Gremlins. June 8th, 1984. That's when Gremlins hit theaters. And what's funny is that it's a Christmas movie released in the middle of summer. I mean, talk about like an off-season surprise. But you know what? It worked, didn't it, y'all?
Yes.
Audiences were ready for something different, and Gremlins gave them just that.
Totally. Christmas and summertime with a twist. It definitely wasn't your typical holiday cheer. This movie had equal parts cuteness and chaos. I mean, who wouldn't want a Mogwai for Christmas, right?
Right. But with a little warning label like attached to it so you couldn't forget, right? Do not feed after midnight. Okay, so let's talk about the first time we saw Gremlins. And let's let Kelli go first.
I was 7 or 8 years old, and I did see it in the theater, and I just loved it. I mean, I felt like it was something that we had never seen before. Like you said, a little bit scary, but also some funny parts. Loved Gizmo. I wanted him so bad, just like every other kid in America. Yes, loved it.
It's funny, Kelli, because you and I did not see this together. I was 8, and But you do have this love for scary movies. I mean, all of our lives growing up, I think I probably watched more scary movies because of my friendship with you than I just would have elected to.
Hmm.
Um, but this one was the first scary movie slash, I think big kid, or I felt like at the time, like big kid movie that I was seeing in the theaters. Like it wasn't one of the Disney animation movies or just a kiddie movie. It was like a movie. It was definitely at Cloverleaf Mall. And I know I saw it once, and Missy, it may have been with you and a friend and like some of the kids she was babysitting
I think you're
during
exactly right. Yes.
during that summer.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I remember Cloverleaf Mall. I remember like being excited and getting dressed to go to this, big movie, like my acid wash jeans and making sure my hair was the big hair. And I think it was my friend Rhonda.
Yeah.
And we went with some kids that she was babysitting. And I remember on the way to Cloverleaf Mall listening to that Footloose soundtrack. It had come out not long before. And that was like the music we were listening to at that time.
Well, I know, and here's what's funny is I remember seeing it that time. And then, back then we would go back to the movies to see movies multiple times.
Hmm.
Yes.
And I remember begging my friend's mom to let this other friend of mine go see it because it was PG. And I had to beg her and convince them that it wasn't really all that scary, that there were like funny parts to it, but it really was scary. But it was like a big deal. It was a really big deal. But it's one of my first movie theater experiences I remember as seeing like a big kid movie.
Yeah.
Right. Me
I
too.
wanna say Kelly talked about how cute Gizmo was. And I don't know if you know this, Kelly, but when I was a little girl, like a really little girl, I wanted a chimpanzee, like in the worst way. Like Amanda's spitting out her drink. I wanted a chimpanzee. I thought they were so cute. And whenever I saw Gizmo, I was like, well, that would take the place of a monkey. But of course, it wasn't real. And I was way too old to be thinking that by that time.
And if you've seen the documentary, thank God you didn't get one.
I know. But I
Right.
really did want one because you could dress it up like a baby.
Sure.
Well, Missy, you mentioned that Footloose music, and it was such a great year of music in 1984. Just before the movie came out, some of the top music charts were, or top of the chart music was Hello by Lionel
Hello.
Richie. Yep.
My first
And
concert, by the way.
was it really?
It was.
Did you see him in Jackson at the
I
Coliseum?
did.
It was this year too. It was
Were you there?
1984. I was there, sister, and Sheena Easton was there playing the drums for
Absolutely.
him. Oh my gosh. It wasn't my first concert, but it
And
was
for
so
dancing on
good.
the ceiling, he was in the stirrups. Like they all raised
Yes.
the band members up. I thought it was the coolest
Yes.
thing ever.
Went with
Well,
Rhonda to that one as well.
what a good first concert, Kelly. That's a
I
good one.
know. I had some
Um,
really good ones.
well, that song was one of those that you would, if you were like riding in the car and it came on, you could like look out the window and be really dramatic and like sing along because it was just so dramatic. That's what I did anyway.
Yes, and I know you ladies often mention who was on People magazine during this year, during this week and year. And this week it was the late great John Belushi. Now, he died about 2 years before this, but apparently a controversial book had been
Ooh.
released, and his widow was not happy. And the top three TV shows were Dallas, Dynasty, and The Cosby Show. I loved The Cosby Show. I loved Rudy. I wanted to be Rudy.
We all wanted to be Rudy. I was a teenager and wanted to be Rudy.
Yeah, everybody. I feel like the Cosby Show in this podcast, when we talk about TV shows, comes up almost as often as Reagan and the Cold War.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't come up that much. But I'm gonna say I was never a Dallas girl. Like I never watched Dallas. It was on CBS, and I don't think we got CBS out in the country where we lived. But I did love me some Dynasty.
Yeah, that's
Love
what
it.
our parents watched. Kelly, did your parents watch any of those nighttime soap operas?
I do not remember them watching that. And I never was really into Dynasty or Dallas. I'm wondering if they were like,
Y'all
they were
were a
too
little
old for
young for
me.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
Oh, they
definitely
were,
probably
they
young.
were. I
Yeah.
would sneak. I would just like beg to, let me stay up a little bit late and it would be on for sure. It
The
wasn't like,
Carringtons.
yes, we weren't supposed to be watching it. Well, although, of course, I could say something about Reagan and the Cold War here, I'm not going to. I'm going to put a pause on that, Kelly. It comes up in every podcast because that
Every
was,
podcast, she loves to mention the
no,
Cold War and Ronald Reagan.
I don't. It was just that
It just happens.
it just happened. I can't help it the way history unfolded. But instead, I'm going to say here that there was a horrible crime that happened in California. It was a stabbing death of a high school girl, Kirsten Costas. Missy, she was actually only 5 days older than you. Do you remember that?
I do remember something about that. She was killed by a classmate. I it seems like her name was like Bernadette, something like that. Bernadette Prodi, maybe. And there was actually a movie with Tori Spelling about this that came out in the 90s. It was A Friend to Die For. Do you girls remember
Uh,
that?
was it on Lifetime?
Yes, it was on Lifetime. And Kelly, I think you know, Amanda and I are into true crime, which is why we bring it up from time to time. Are you a true crime girl?
Absolutely. Love true crime.
Me too. I was
The
thinking
best.
today, I was looking for something to watch on TV, and I was like, I wish whenever I set up like my Netflix and my Hulu, I could just put in true crime and that
Hmm.
it would bring that to me. I mean, I know I can search for it, but it's not the
And
same.
it would filter it for
It
you.
would filter it for me. Yeah.
Well, back to Gremlins.
Okay.
Like I said, this movie was rated PG. It was for us at the age Kelly and I were at. That was like a big kid movie, and so that was kind of exciting getting to go. But y'all get this. It's actually one of the reasons that they created the PG-13 rating later on.
Really?
Yes, because parents thought this movie was a bit too intense for the younger kids, which like this makes so much sense to me. It goes back to me like having to beg my friend's mom to let her come because it was like it kind of pushed the envelope a little bit on that PG rating. Um, what started with adorable little Gizmo quickly turns into something that can be much darker.
Yeah. Okay. So, Kelly, are you upset that Amanda wasn't inviting you to go to Gremlins? I mean, she keeps talking about this other unnamed. I'm not sure that's very nice at all.
Well, I have to say, I did not know Amanda when we
Mm-mm.
were 7 and 8.
Nope.
I was at Tim's Elementary.
Oh,
So I did not move to Oak Grove with Amanda until the third grade.
okay. I'm thinking 8 is third grade, but y'all would have still been enemies then anyway. Do you
Right.
do you think we need to just pause for a second before we get this out in the open to our real fans
Yes.
who are going, why were they enemies? Okay.
Yes.
A
Oh,
quick story.
goodness.
Here we go.
I'll start. Third grade, Kelly comes on the scene. Who's
Cute as a button, by the way.
cute as a button? Who's this new girl coming onto the scene every single day? First of all, she's got this cute little short haircut, permed, with the cutest little broccoli bangs.
We're gonna have to
And,
have some pictures from that time, Kel, for social.
and
Absolutely.
always dressed so cute. She every single day has a cute little headband that she wears.
Bandana.
Bandana, I'm sorry, thank you.
Bandana.
Bandana, but wore it like a headband, like
That's so
around,
cute.
bandana with matching Converse high tops. Pink bandana, pink high tops. Green
Mm.
bandana,
She's that
green high
girl.
tops.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they were Reebok high tops with a Velcro. I had some purple
Yep,
Reebok.
always cute outfits. And she loved to race the boys at recess.
I did.
Cool,
She
Terrible.
thought she could run so fast in her high top Reeboks.
I did.
cool cat on the scene. And here's the real problem. when my sister, you, Missy, were in the Oak Grove school newspaper for junior miss, and we had a photo shoot done.
That was the Hattiesburg American. That wasn't the Oak Grove newspaper. That was the city newspaper that came for that photo.
Well, I thought it was Oak Grove. Anyway.
Well, I think that they borrowed it. I think the Oak Grove paper staff
borrowed
it.
Did a little cut and paste action.
Okay.
Yes, because we all had copies of it. Like it was passed out.
Yeah, they passed it out.
Passed it out at school, at your elementary school. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, like the Oak Grove newspaper.
Okay.
And one Kelli McCloskey, Kelly Carter, drew devil horns on you and a mustache.
I did. And I have to say, I did not know you, Missy. I am so sorry. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even know Amanda. I was just the new kid at school.
She was like,
trying to be cool.
I was trying to be funny, and I was a little jokester, and I'm like, who is this on the front page? And I was like,
she
let me
doesn't
just
have
draw
on
some
a
devil
bandana.
horns. Yeah, where's her bandana? And I'm like, this will get a laugh. And sure enough, it did. Well, I think by the end of the day, it got around to Amanda. You know, Kelly Carter's drawing devil horns on your sister, and it was a big to do. Big tiff.
Jennifer Clark told me.
Let the cat out of the bag on that. So sorry, Missy. Whew.
Oh,
but we somehow turned friends and never looked back.
I know. We were very forgiving. I was just like, oh.
Did you cry or anything, Amanda? Like, when that happened?
No.
Good.
No,
were you mad? Were you like, did you tell the teacher?
I don't think I told the teacher. Well, back then you didn't tell the teacher stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I was mad. I was like, oh, that girl with the bandana.
Sure you were too.
Oh.
Well, I forgive you. I love you, and I have loved watching you your whole life grow up and be this incredibly successful and great mom and friend with my sister. And so I will forgive the devil horns and the mustache. Well, now that we've gotten through that hump, let's go back to Gremlins, because it had a budget of about $11 million, which was pretty standard for a mid-sized movie in the 80s.
But I was thinking, Missy, it is standard, but I'm thinking, like, considering all the practical effects that they used, they made that 11 million go really far.
You're right. They did. And then here's where it gets good. The movie ended up making over 153 million worldwide. I mean, that's a huge return on investment, especially for a movie that blended horror, comedy, and Christmas theme.
It was the fourth highest grossing film of 1984, coming in behind major blockbusters like Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Those are two more of my favorites. I guess people were really into that drawn mix of cute and creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. Missy, we can do Indiana Jones. When we do Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom,
we won't be doing that one.
We already did Raiders.
We've done one Indiana Jones, and there's so many movies. We'll just have to move on.
Yeah, you'll just have to see.
Well, as for awards, it didn't win any major Academy Awards, but it did win 2 Saturn Awards, Best Horror Film and Best Special Effects. But it's funny because I don't think of it like as a horror movie, like as a Freddy or Jason or Michael Myers type movie. Right. But it did leave, even though it didn't win awards, a lasting impact. It became a cult classic and also paved the way for other horror comedies and even inspired a sequel, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, in 1990.
Exactly. Sometimes the true legacy of a film isn't just about the awards, but how it stays in people's hearts and continues to be a part of pop culture.
And this did, Kelly. You're exactly right. Gizmo was that sweet, lovable star. But those gremlins, I mean, they definitely gave me nightmares, and I wasn't even a kid, right? Kelly, did you have a Gizmo? Amanda, did you?
Of
course I did. Yes.
Okay, I was going to ask when we were talking about Missy, you were talking about him being cute. Had they're a little stuffed one. They were so cute.
So cute. And
I
I wanted
remember
him
you
to
having
be
it.
alive
Oh,
so
Yeah.
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
And
Bad.
would people make jokes, Kelly, like, don't feed it after midnight? Like,
Yes. Of course my dad did, yes.
Well, speaking of Gizmo, here is a fun fact. And I had no clue of this until I was doing the research for the podcast. He was voiced by Howie Mandel. Right? Yeah. The Howie
What?
Mandel, who was, it was long before his days on Deal or No Deal. And is he on America Has Talent now?
yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
I think so. Yeah.
Or he was. I don't know if he is now.
Okay.
All the gremlins, speaking, like you said, of Gizmo and the actual gremlins themselves, were puppets, not CGI. Every scene with them was done with practical effects, which means hours and hours of work just to bring those little monsters to life. That's what gives this movie that real hands-on feel that CGI sometimes can't match.
Yes. It's like E.T.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of those elements that comes up over and over again in movies in the 80s, practical effects, which Miles pointed out to us. We talked about it on the episode Nightmare on Elm Street, having the real effects and real creatures on set seems to bring a special quality to the characters. And I was actually talking to Eric about that today. I think it's really true that there is something kind of magical about that.
Yeah, it's like you
De-
can connect with them.
Definitely. It really makes you appreciate the effort that went into it. And of course, Steven Spielberg was behind the scenes as the producer, so you can
Woohoo!
feel his influence. He has that magical touch of blending wonder and a little terror.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see Gizmo and ET kind of like being buddies.
Totally.
I was wondering when we were talking about Howie Mandel voicing Gizmo, if you were going to try to copy that like you did Pat Walsh with E.T. Amanda, can you do it?
Can't do it. I can't do Gizmo. I can't do Gizmo. It's too unique. I just can't do it. Well, not John, so sorry. Joe Dante directed the movie, and he's known for mixing horror with humor. He also directed The Howling, which I've never seen. Have you seen it, Kelly?
Of course I have. Yeah. It was terrifying.
I saw it. It was a big deal when I was in high school to go and see The Howling. And
I
it
should
showed
not
on
have been able to watch it.
HBO over and over and over again. And yes, Kelly, you shouldn't have watched it, but we know you would have probably even snuck in to see that because
Well, it
so
was
much.
not. I did not see it at the theater. I actually saw it, I guess, on HBO,
Probably.
and it was actually with a babysitter. And I even remember I was crying behind the couch, saying, "Please turn it off, please turn it off." And she's like, "No, it's fine. You're fine." So,
Oh my gosh. And you know
yes,
what? There's an ET reference there because the woman that's the star, Dee Wallace, is it Dee Wallace? She was the
Yeah.
star of ET as well. She was on The Howling.
that's
Oh,
right.
that's right. I remember you saying that. And in Cujo.
Yes.
Cujo. hmm It's
Well,
like there
Kelly,
was like a small circle of 80s actors that
Right.
were all in all of the movies.
That's right.
yes, we're finding that out as we
Uh-huh.
dig a little bit more deeply into all of these. But yeah, so he directed The Howling, and Zach Galligan played Billy Peltzer, who was the teen boy that accidentally sets all the gremlin madness into motion. Now, this was one of his first major roles, and it really put him on the map. And I think actually it was his first, not first, his um most famous role.
I've not seen him in much.
So
Yeah.
Kelly and I were talking about that earlier, but he actually, so I dug into this a little bit because I thought it was interesting because at the time I remember thinking Billy was so cute. Like I thought he was a really cute guy.
Right.
But
Mhm.
he prioritized going back to school at Columbia University. He was a sophomore at the time and he went back to finish school at Columbia um, after he finished Gremlins and graduated. And he would still send tapes across to California, to LA for auditions, but it put him at a disadvantage because he wasn't there in person. And in fact, he tried to audition for Back to the Future for Marty McFly, and it didn't work out for him. And once he made his way back to LA, he found out he had sort of missed the boat. So,
well, God had other plans for him, I suppose.
that's right. Wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. And then there's the beautiful Phoebe Cates as Kate. She had already become a household name from the Fast Times at Ridgemont High movie in 1982. So this movie just added to her fame. I don't know about you girls, but I think she's like the perfect mix of girl next door and tough enough, right, that she could take on these gremlins. And this year, 1984, she was actually named on Harper Bazaar's list of America's 10 most beautiful women.
She really was so beautiful. I mean, her skin, she looks like Snow White to me. I always imagined her as Snow White. But I read that she turned down roles in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Adventures of Babysitting, The Princess Bride, and The Accused.
I can't
Very
imagine
interesting.
her in The Accused. Like she's just too like porcelain doll looking to
I
be in
know.
The Accused, right? I mean,
Agree.
that was a tough one.
And she married actor Kevin Kline, and I think she just decided to really devote herself to being a mom and a wife.
Well, good for her. Isn't that interesting that both of these two big stars of this movie really didn't go on and do a whole lot after it?
I know. That is interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget someone who did continue on with their career, Corey Feldman, who played Billy's young friend, Pete.
Which, by the way, he was actually nominated for a Best Supporting Actor for his role.
Oh, yeah. Corey was on the rise in the 80s, and this role came just before his breakout performances in The Goonies and Stand By Me. Talk about an 80s icon.
The crazy thing is this is kind of that role before his big breakout role, which, by the way, I wouldn't have guessed that he would have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this role. I mean, he was good
Me
at everything, but I don't see that. But I will tell you this, he had a whole resume of projects before this, including 2 episodes on Mork and Mindy, which was a favorite of mine from 1980.
Yeah, we're too young for that one. Or I think.
Have you heard Nanu Nanu and all of
Yes.
that? Okay,
yeah.
good.
I've seen some episodes. And also don't forget Corey's music career is still going on
Do
today.
I know about his music career?
If you don't, we will definitely share some things with you.
Yes.
Give me one song. Like top 40 type music?
Oh, goodness, no.
Oh, okay. What's the genre?
He wears a black leather suit, like black leather pants, black leather jacket. He did have long, like dyed jet black hair, but I think he just cut it for maybe like a reboot of the Goonies.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
They're doing a reboot. Yep.
So I'm guessing it's like heavy metal.
Yes.
Just the vibe I'm getting from you.
It is. I will definitely have to share some Instagram videos with you of Corey, and then he will never leave your algorithm.
I don't know it. No, I don't want him on my algorithm for sure. Okay, girls, we cannot forget about Hoyt Axton, who played Billy's dad, Randall Peltzer. Now, Hoyt Axton was actually a country music star, and he was a songwriter before ever taking on this role. My husband, Chris, he always talks about when he was in college, early college, and his fraternity had their formal out in Fort Worth, Texas. And he goes into Billy Bob's nightclub, and Hoyt Axton is on the stage playing his guitar and singing a song, and it's one of Chris's star sightings of his life. But it's really fun. It's really
that is funny.
But truly, I think Hoyt, like his laid back kind of folksy charm, really added warmth to this like quirky inventor dad. Even though his gadgets didn't always work. They were making me laugh in this movie.
When
Me
I
too.
was a kid, though, and even still watching it back now as an adult, I felt, I don't know how to explain it, but some sort of way about the dad. Like, I don't know if it was like I felt sorry for him or that he was kind of sketch or something. I don't know. It was almost like he was the long lost uncle or something.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
There
he
was like
was
a
traveling
disconnect.
so much. He didn't have that connection. But I
Right.
have to say, often we'll give nods to things that remind us of something else from a movie. All I could think of was Belle's dad from Beauty and the Beast.
That is funny.
The inventor.
Well, really quick, so when I first saw this movie when I was a child, I thought he was like, oh, he must be the most fun dad. I mean, he's so nice and he has all these cool inventions. And I
That's
thought the
funny.
I thought it was so funny when the juicer didn't work and the coffee was like tar. Now, rewatching this as an adult and wife and mom, my patience for this definitely dwindled. I was like, why don't they just buy some orange juice? And the woman, when the orange juice gets all over the cabinets and there's pulp dripping down everywhere, and she's just like, oh, Rand.
That's
And
funny.
he would have been like, hell no.
Clean this mess up and sell some product. Let's go.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Frank Welker, who voiced the Gremlins, is a legend in voice acting.
All right,
He's been
hold tight. So Howie Mandel did Gizmo, but Frank
yes,
Welker did the Gremlins.
yeah, like the
Okay, gotcha.
like the bad
Yeah.
guys.
Wait, are you gonna give us a little
No,
impression?
they just go like they don't. They're not.
Well, they do
Sorry,
sing.
Frank.
They do
You're right.
sing and we'll get to it, but in
Yeah.
that scene when they're in the theater, they
You're
do
right.
sing.
You're right. You're right. There's some singing.
And off mic, I can maybe do a Gizmo for you.
Oh, okay.
Off mic.
That's
She
not
doesn't want
fair to the real
it.
fans, Kelly. That's not fair.
Well, I
Well-
didn't practice or anything, but maybe later. We'll see.
Okay. Well, Frank was the voice of Scooby Doo, which that's interesting, and Megatron from Transformers. So he definitely knows how to bring characters to life, whether they're adorable or terrifying. And I wonder if he knew Pat Welsh, the woman who was the voice for E.T. They did
what I
training
said.
together.
That's what I said about Howie Mandel too. Amanda, do you remember when Morgan was a baby and he was trying to go to sleep and he would make all these little sounds, just like he couldn't get settled and he would make all these crazy sounds and we would call him our little gremlin. Do you remember that?
Yes, he was the most gremlin-y sounds and it was always at night when we were
That's
asleep.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that might surprise you guys. Originally, the script for Gremlins was way, way darker. In early drafts, the Gremlins actually killed Billy's mom. Yes. Spielberg had them scale it back to keep the movie from being too gruesome.
Yeah, not only too gruesome, but that would have also messed up the scene where Billy's mom kills all the gremlins in her kitchen in all those bizarre ways, and the blender and the microwave. And
Yeah.
it's again really gross, but also kind of funny because you don't want them to get away. So I'm glad that was a good
was a
move.
good call.
It was
to
a
make
good
that.
call. And I remember it got a lot of laughs, like when the gremlin exploded in the microwave and when he was in the blender and the green guts got everywhere. It was real funny.
It was
Everybody
a real knee slapper.
Oh my gosh.
Well, in that same thought process, Spielberg also insisted that Gizmo and Stripe stay separate characters because originally Gizmo was supposed to turn into Stripe, who we know was like the bad one, the leader of the group. He figured that the audience would love Gizmo too much and not want to see him go bad. And I think he was right.
Oh, I do too. It's a
For sure.
brilliant move. Brilliant.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to sell all those little stuffed gizmos if
Yeah.
they had gone that route.
That's right. Nobody would have wanted it.
No.
Okay, so one more fascinating fact. Speaking of Spielberg, he loved this project so much, he made a little cameo in it himself. He's actually in the background during the Inventors Convention scene where Billy's dad is. Did
No
you
way.
girls catch it?
No.
No,
Okay, you'll have
I'm
to go
gonna
back
have
and
to go
watch
see
it.
it.
Yeah.
What were
Is
you
he the
saying?
guy that's like riding that unicycle looking thing?
Oh, I can't remember exactly.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that scene.
Me
Yeah.
too. And I don't know. I mean, I would like, I guess it's something we could like research and see because I don't know that Spielberg's commonly one of those people that you hear like makes cameos in his movies.
I know, but apparently he loved this one so much he did.
He jumped right on in.
Jumped right in.
All right, now that we've covered all the fun behind the scenes, let's get into the movie itself and dive into the chaos that starts with one innocent little gift.
The movie starts off in the heart of Chinatown, where we meet Billy's dad, Randall Peltzer. He's your typical well-meaning, quirky inventor, always on the lookout for that next big idea. He's on a business trip, and like many of us who have traveled and left family behind, he wants to take home a gift, a Christmas gift for his son, Billy.
We see a kid telling him to come to his grandpa's shop, which is in the basement of a building. It's eerie and filled with weird trinkets, taxidermy, and this strange old man, the kid's grandpa, running the store.
Okay, I have to just kind of pause and tell you girls a quick story here. So the whole family had gone on a cruise this summer, and we were in, what town were we in? I think we were in
I don't know,
Playa
but
del Carmen.
y'all love to cruise.
We do love to cruise. We were in Playa del Carmen, and we would walk the streets, and it was, it was called like Fifth Avenue, and you'd walk the streets, and then they had all these side streets. Well, they would have people up on the main street trying to get you to come down to the stores on the bottom street, which is really, it seems like that was what this little boy had done, like come to my grandpa's shop. And so this one guy, super like friendly and cute in Mexico, was like, we just opened my grandpa's store down here. Y'all come and see. And so we kind of start going, and then we're like, oh, wait, this is one of those scams that we've been warned about. But he was so nice and cute. We were like heading on down in the alley to check out Grandpa's store. So
What did you do?
We didn't go. We just said, okay, have a good day. Buenos dias. We just kept walking. Like we were walking, and all of a sudden it's like it hit us, and we just like turned and merged back into the main traffic on the main street.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, warning to all the tourists out there, don't go see
Yeah.
Grandpa's store.
No doubt.
He was not, I'm going to tell you right now, he was not trying to sell you a gizmo.
No, he was not.
Mm-mm.
He was not.
Well, while the dad is looking around,
Looking around the store.
Yeah, looking around the store. He's in
yeah.
the store. He hears this odd little sound. He wanders
Wait,
over.
that's Kelly's perfect moment. Let's start this. Yeah, Kelly, give us a little bit of a gizmo
Yeah, let's
sound
hear it,
here.
Kelly.
Come on.
Let's hear it, Kiki.
Oh my goodness, I haven't practiced. I can't do it.
You can do it. We believe in you.
Say
Just
yeah,
a
you
just
got
a
it.
Okay.
little mutter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so
Seriously, impressed. He was singing that little song. Yes. He was singing that little song.
Well, that's what Billy's dad heard. So he goes
Yep.
over and he like lifts there's like a blanket over his little cage, I guess. And we see this adorable creature, and we learn that it is a Mogwai. And Billy's dad instantly is like, oh my gosh, this is what I have to get. This little creature. It's the perfect Christmas gift for my son, Billy.
Yeah, but it's not quite that easy, is it?
No.
The old man warns him that Gizmo isn't for sale. Too much responsibility, he says, right? But the shop owner's grandson sneaks the sale on the side. So he tells him, go on out to the alley and I'll bring him out there. See, you don't want to be in alleys with these people. But he tells Rand the three crucial rules: no bright light, don't get him wet, and the number one rule, don't feed him after midnight.
Which, of course, we all know now those rules get seriously broken.
Yes.
But first, we're off to the picturesque town of Kingston Falls, all covered in snow.
This is actually the same place where Back to the Future was filmed.
Well, no wonder. Remember, Kelly, when I was talking to you the other day, I said it was so weird because as I was watching this, I had like Back to the Future vibes. Something about, I told her, I said, I can't pinpoint it, but something about it felt like Back to the Future.
Yes, now we know.
Yeah.
So it's Christmas time, and Billy, our main character, is trying to get to work at the bank in his old VW bug that just won't start. And right off the bat, you feel the small town vibe.
And you know that car not starting is foreshadowing for trouble to come.
Yes,
Yes.
it is. And also, as a mom rewatching this, I was wondering why he was parked in the front yard. I was like, why isn't he parked in the driveway? Anyway,
It's like,
nothing
get
to do
out of
with
the yard.
anything. Yeah.
Well, you can feel it's one of those everyone knows everyone towns. As Billy rushes into work, we meet Kate, who, like we said, is played by Phoebe Cates. And there's definitely chemistry between them. And then, of course, there's Mrs. Deagle, who is the worst version of an Ebenezer Scrooge that you can imagine.
She is awful. I mean, she's basically threatening to have Billy's dog Barney killed because he knocked over her snowman decoration. And she's not shy about making a huge scene in the spank. You can tell she's like a lady of influence, right? But girls, this lady gives off major Wicked Witch of the West vibes.
Yes.
Yep. The whole
Max-
time, that's what I was thinking.
My son, my 13-year-old, when he was watching this with me, he said the exact thing. He even said, is that the same lady that played the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, it was very similar. I was expecting her to say, I'm gonna get you and your little dog too.
I know, I did too.
Me too, absolutely. So anyway, Billy gets home that night to find his dad has returned with Gizmo. And here's where the fun begins. Gizmo is so cute, singing his little Mogwai tune.
Which you did so well.
Exactly. But when the flash from the camera goes off, bam, Gizmo freaks out. Bright light, bright light. And we're reminded of rule number 1, no bright light.
Yeah, so I just have to say, this is where the dad goes into he tells there's some 3 rules. And this is like a perfect example of where I felt that disconnect. And he was like the traveling uncle. Like he didn't fit with the mom and Billy. He was it was just like he was this random guy coming in with Gizmo. And he was like, oh, let me tell you the 3 rules. It was fun. But he gives the rules, and then Billy's like, okay, no problem. Seems easy enough. So he gets to know Gizmo. They're playing the piano.
I mean, did you not fall in love with Gizmo right then? Like, oh my gosh.
Was so adorable. And here, they're, like I said, they're playing the piano together, and he's the most adorable thing ever. But that calm doesn't last long because pretty soon he's showing Giz off to his friend Pete.
Which is nominated supporting actor.
He was amazing in this film. But Pete accidentally, of course, spills some water on Gizmo, and before you know it, pop, 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 new Mogwai start multiplying. They're these little fur balls that turn into little Mogwai like Gizmo. The boys are amazed, but soon realize that those little guys are not as sweet as Gizmo.
Do y'all remember back in, I think it was the 80s, maybe into the 90s, the girls, we would, and y'all, Kelly probably had one with her little tied bandanas, but like the rabbit coats.
It was
Like you
80s.
had
Oh,
It
like,
was
yeah.
80s.
it was like a
Mhm.
bomber jacket, but it was rabbit,
Mhm.
and it would have the strings from the hood, and they had the
Mhm.
round
The
little
balls.
rabbit balls. That's
Mhm.
exactly what they looked like to me as the little
Mhm.
mogwai were popping off. I was like, it looks like the little ends of the rabbit fur coats.
It
Yeah,
definitely did.
that's probably what the practical effects department used.
Probably so.
Mhm.
They bought a bunch
Yeah.
of coats. Well, you're right, Amanda, when you said that they weren't as sweet as Gizmo, especially Stripe, who appears to be the leader of the bunch. And he's got a mean little attitude with a white stripe in his head, which is why we call him Stripe, right? But from there, things begin to spiral quickly. Billy's room is now overrun with these Mogwai, and Gizmo, he looks like genuinely sad about it all. Like it's
Mhm.
like he knows these new ones
Mhm.
are trouble.
I feel like Gizmo, after this all happens, is like a mom who just gave birth. Like that's what he seems like. He's like postpartum, sort of like what just happened. This is not going.
Even his little bottom lip is quivering. Like,
I know.
it's so sad. So before things get really out of hand, Billy takes one of the new Mogwai to a science teacher, Mr. Hanson, at the local school.
Okay. Yeah. So this is where you start getting a really bad feeling. I have a lot to say about this. Mr. Hanson is curious and tests what Billy has told him. He drops a little drop of water on the Mogwai. So, of course, that creates another one. And you can tell he is fascinated and eager to experiment on his new creature. And this kind of reminded me of the scene in E.T. where the science class is doing the experiment and they're killing the
Mhm.
frogs.
Yes.
I was like, what? But I have to pause here because this is just another example in this movie, and I don't think I can express this properly. I hope I can articulate it, but I don't know if it's because this brought back so many memories to me of this being the first like big kid movie I saw in the theaters. Um, it was just so like very visceral, but it hit me during this movie more than any that we've done so far. The 1980s were unhinged. They were just unhinged. Like that stuff, like it was like we were on this precipice of we didn't realize this huge technology boom, but we were like almost right there on the cusp of it. And so it was this feeling of like anything is possible. And I feel like it came through in the movies that we watched. And it was this
Hmm.
like, we're safe because we're in this bubble, but like we really were on this like cusp of this huge technology explosion and just like what's going to happen in the world. But I don't know, everything just seemed just from parking your car in the front yard and it being like nothing to it to the science teacher and the killing the frogs. It just was
Mhm.
an unhinged time. It was just all over the place.
That's so funny. You girls keep talking about the car in the front yard, but if you drove around Oak Grove, the
Oh, yeah.
community we all lived in back in the 1980s, there were a lot of cars in front yards. And
You're exactly right.
oh my gosh,
Again,
that's so funny.
again,
But I agree, Amanda. You're true. And that was, I might just give you like the philosophical award of the podcast for today because that was quite
Ting.
philosophical, right?
It
Thank you.
was.
Thank you.
Agreed.
All right. Well, back at home, y'all, things are getting even wilder and weirder too. I guess I combined those two words. The new Mogwai, they're getting restless. They're constantly hungry. And at this point, it's late at night and they're begging for food. So Billy, being the rule follower that he is, he turns and he checks the clock. He sees it's not quite midnight. And so he's like, I'll get you guys some food. Goes down, gives them some chicken.
By the
Um,
way, wait, it's
uh,
he opens the refrigerator door and it is a full on
It's a
huge plate of
platter.
chicken. Again,
yes.
unhinged. Like what?
Unhinged. And it's not covered. And they really get in there and show them eating it. And it's like slimy and there's chicken grease and skin all over their mouths and
Yeah, it was
fingers.
gross.
Oh,
It
it's
was
gross.
gross, right? And of course, we find out later that the sneaky little creatures cut the power to the clock, so it was already after midnight.
That's right. When he figures he sees the cord, he's like, Mom, what's going on here? Like, well, clearly what's going on here is they cut the cord. But I do agree with Kelly. The scene is so gross. They're devouring that food like monsters. And poor Gizmo, he knows what's up. He refuses to eat. He just knows something is not right. But by the next morning, which is Christmas Eve, by the way, Billy wakes up to find the Mogwai have transformed into these gross, slimy cocoons, kind of like alien pods.
I know, it's total alien vibes. And of course, it's happening all over town too. Back at the school, Mr. Hanson's Mogwai has also turned into a cocoon, and things are about to get a whole lot creepier.
And again, was it registering with either one of y'all? Like I said, it's Christmas Eve. The kids are in school on Christmas Eve when this is all happening.
Right. That is such a good point. It did not register with me. But I will
like,
say,
it's the teacher in us, Kelly. We're like, they shouldn't
not
be in
register.
school.
I was like, how was the last day of Christmas break Christmas Eve?
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I will say, to me, the scene where Billy, or I'm sorry, it's actually the mom, when she goes up to the attic and she sees these pods, to me, that was the scariest part of the whole movie, especially combined with the background music, the creepy, growls and stuff, and the smoke.
Yeah,
Definitely
because you
the
didn't.
creepiest part.
Yeah, because you knew this movie was supposed to be quote unquote scary, and you're like, okay, this is where it's about. You didn't know
when's it coming? When's
what
it
was
coming?
what was gonna happen.
And off of that school scene is when things do get kicked into high gear, right? The cocoons hatch and out come the gremlins, no longer cute and furry Mogwai. They are terrifying little creatures with sharp teeth and a mischievous grin. And y'all, Mr. Hanson is the first victim. And let's just say it doesn't end well for him.
That's what you get for having Christmas Eve. School on Christmas Eve.
Cool. Exactly.
It's the punishment.
That's right.
Meanwhile, back at Billy's home, his mom is left alone with a newly hatched gremlin.
This is what you were just talking about, Kel.
Yeah, this is the scene I was just talking about. She just starts going savage on these things. She blends one in the kitchen mixer, she stabs another one with a knife, and she even microwaves one until it explodes.
Oh, I just thought of something talking about this. This scene was so good, and like you said, she is savage. And this is also we were talking about earlier. We're so glad that it worked out this way because this was like a scene that you did not forget. Like I remembered all of this. Like you said, Kelly, a lot of laughs. But another connection to Back to the Future. Billy's mom is the mom in Back to the Future, technically the grandmom. Like when he goes back to 1955 and he wakes up and he's in the bedroom and Leah Thompson's the young girl. The mom of Leah Thompson is Billy's mom.
Oh yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah, so technically she's the grandma of Marty McFly, but Leah Thompson's I can't think of her name, but Leah Thompson's mom.
Yeah,
yeah. So anyway,
same hairstyle.
Exactly.
She's like, I'm just gonna run over and do some.
I'm just gonna get a perm, get another perm real quick. Keep it tight.
Did y'all also notice in this scene, Kelly, where you're talking about her going savage, how sweaty she got? Dripping sweat. I was like, dang, they had to spray her down.
Or maybe she just hadn't gotten her cardio on before the filming, and she's like, "Whoo, I need to be in better shape for my next one." Yeah.
Well, that one part where the gremlin hides in the Christmas tree and attacks her is
oh my gosh.
That is such a good one. It's so scary. And Billy arrives back just in time to save her, and he uses his dad's sword to behead the gremlin. But of course, Stripe, the leader of the pack, manages to escape, which sets us up for the big showdown to come.
Yes, and Billy takes his mom to safety and follows Stripe to the YMCA where things go from bad to worse because Stripe jumps into the pool. The water starts bubbling like crazy. The whole thing looks like a witch's cauldron. And well, you know what happens next? Stripe multiplies, and now there are hundreds of gremlins wreaking havoc all over Kingston Falls.
And this is where we get the full on chaos. At first, you have that scene where you see Stripe come, it's dark, and you see Stripe coming towards you on the street. And then he kind of turns around and you start seeing all the other ones following behind him in their little walking area. And they are running around town causing accidents and messing with people's cars and basically turning Christmas into a nightmare. Poor Mrs. Deagle gets her comeuppance when the gremlins tamper with her electric stair lift, launching her straight out of the window.
I kept thinking it would have been so perfect if she had said when she was in the snow, like, I'm melting.
Kelly loves this part.
I think that the theater like cheered and clapped when she went flying out the window. We were like, yes.
I do too. And one thing about this that I think is interesting with the PG rating and then the pushing the PG-13, because the violence, there were some people that didn't make it, like the science teacher and Mrs. Deagle. But the way they do it, it's very sort of like the Wicked Witch of the West where the house falls, right? Like you don't really see anything. You see your feet in the air.
Like you don't see like the hardcore violence you would see in a movie today, right?
Right. No blood and gore. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now we've got a full-blown gremlin invasion in Kingston Falls. And one of the wildest scenes, and one of my favorites, is when the gremlins take over the local bar. They're drinking, smoking, playing cards, wearing leg warmers.
Yes, it's crazy. It's a cute scene, and like if the gremlins can look cute, they look cute in the scene. But when I was growing up, there was an image, and I don't know, a lot of people had this image around at the time, and I'm talking about like early 70s, like I was probably 4 or 5, and there was this scene of dogs playing poker. And they were dressed up like people, and they were sitting around, and they even tried to do a remake, I think, of that in the movie.
They did.
You see that, right? But when I was little, that picture gave me so many nightmares. Like I can still remember a dream I had whenever I was like in my mom's arms and we walked up and those dogs were there. And one of those dogs took me out of my mom's arms and I was crying. Just a side note. I had a little trauma. It was a bit of a trigger when I saw the gremlins playing poker. I didn't mean to interrupt, Kelly. Sorry.
Oh, no. Okay. So, well, it seems the gremlins are just having the time of their lives. But then we see that Kate is stuck in there having to serve them. And it's clear she's terrified. But she's so smart, she finds a camera and uses the flash to temporarily blind them.
And this bar scene, Kelly, like you said, you love this scene. So do I. It was really one of my favorites. And this was the example I gave to my friend, the friend's mom, that I was like, oh, it's really not that scary. And I remember telling my friend when we got to this scene, being like, oh, this part's funny. Don't worry. It's not scary. This part's funny.
When you were coaching her through the film the whole time, who is this friend?
Shanna.
I know.
Shanna Gordy.
Shanna Gordy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember in the bar scene when one of the gremlins has on the leg warmers and weren't they playing I'm a maniac, maniac? And I thought, oh, this is the best.
I know, it was great. And it's then that Billy shows up and they barely manage to get away from the bar. But it's not over yet. The gremlins are still causing havoc all over town. But it's almost daylight. The sun's about to rise.
So, and we know that will kill them if they see the sun.
That is exactly right. And so what do the gremlins do? They go where it will be dark, a local movie theater, and they, I guess, flick it on and get the movie going, and they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
And I love that they're just sitting there singing, like mesmerized by the movie, singing along to "Hi ho, hi
ho, it's off to work we go."
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
It was
Me
great.
Too. They had their popcorn and everything. It was cute. It was a bizarre and hilarious scene. And while the gremlins are distracted by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Billy and Kate hatch a plan. again, unhinged. They sneak into the boiler room.
All right, time out. I was like, how do they know where the boiler room is in the theater? Same?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. They're sneaking into the boiler room.
And then, of course, all I could think of was Freddy Krueger. But they sneak into the boiler room and set the theater to explode, hoping to take out all the gremlins at once. They're letting out the gas, so they light a fire. So there's like, oh, it's going to explode. Well, it works. The theater blows up. Of course, Billy and Kate have escaped. So the theater blows up, and it looks like the nightmare is finally over. But then you hear Kate say, Billy, the department store. And they look over, and Stripe's in the window of the department store wreaking havoc over there. And so now the final showdown is on.
It is on. And the battle takes place, as you said, Amanda, in a department store. And Stripe is as crafty as ever. There's this really intense scene where he's throwing saw blades at Billy. And at one point, he even grabs a chainsaw. But the real hero in the moment, our sweet Gizmo, who makes a daring escape in a little toy car.
And we should probably point out that Gizmo has been in Billy's backpack this entire time.
Yes.
Totally.
And the cutie arrives just in time to save the day. Imagine that.
That's right.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I was going to say a funny little foreshadowing that I noticed when I watched it a few days ago is, do you remember in the very beginning, Gizmo is watching that movie in Billy's room where he's pretending he's driving, making the driving sounds?
Yes, that's right.
And that's what got him to be like, ooh, there's a car and I can drive.
Oh, that's so
I did not notice that. What a good connection. But I do, this department store scene was ingrained in my memory because when I rewatched it, I like totally remembered. I was like, oh yeah, the department store, and remembered the car and the bike ride on all that stuff.
Definitely. So Gizmo pulls a heroic move, opening the sunroof in the department store garden center just in time to shine sunlight on Stripe, disintegrating him before he can cause more trouble.
Yes, and with that, the gremlin threat is finally over. In the end, everything seems to go back to normal. Right, girls? We're back at the house with Billy and his family when we get a surprise knock on the door from the old man in Chinatown who has come back to take Gizmo home.
I know, poor thing. And before we get to that part, I did want to say when Stripe disintegrates in the fountain, that is like the Wicked Witch melting.
Yeah.
I just thought about that. Like I was thinking about him melting in the fountain.
That's right.
But yes, you're right, Missy. He came to get Gizmo back, and he scolds the dad and reminds him that he told him that the Mogwai was a big responsibility. And I think this is another reason I felt some kind of way about the dad, because I felt like he was irresponsible with Gizmo. And I was like, he's sketch.
Yeah, and the old man kind of says it in a told you so kind of way, like, you know.
Yeah, totally.
That it comes with a big responsibility. And you're right, Amanda. The dad, to me, if I would have gotten this creature for my children, before I opened the box, I'd be like, no, wait a minute. We got some rules here and they're important. But he just kind of waits till Gizmo's like blinded by the light to tell the rules.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like he was irresponsible with them for sure.
Exactly.
And I think that's how I felt the disconnect, because Billy seemed like he was very responsible. Like he was a really good kid. And the mom seemed really, with it too. And so I was like, this dad, who's this guy? Well, the movie ends with the sweetest little goodbye when Gizmo says, bye, Billy. Oh. I did not do it justice, but it was really sweet and cute and perfect.
It was perfect. Okay.
Oh, wait, and I will say this more thing. I really also liked the way it ended with him walking down the street, and it was like dark, and he was walking down the snow, and he was like, it was the shadow of the old man taking Gizmo back. I thought that was kind of like a cool way to end it.
It was cool.
It was cool.
And when I think about I can't believe that was Howie Mandel. That blows my mind.
Like now that you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. I'm afraid we're going to have to pay rights to the movie because Kelly's voice is so much like Gizmo's that we're going to be like, you owe us royalties.
Probably.
I bet, you know what though? I bet they did use, when they used their voices, Kelly, you're going to totally get this. I bet they used some like keyboard synthesizing with the
bet
voice.
they did.
Because it's got a little bit of that like
or maybe
sound.
even helium. Like
Here, suck some helium.
Yeah,
Take 10.
helium. It was the 80s. They probably did.
Unhinged.
Like, oh, sure.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, Kelly, I know you have been watching or listening to some of the podcast, and you know we end with asking, does the movie hold up after all these years? So what do you ladies think about Gremlins?
I say absolutely. No wonder it's a cult classic. My kids loved it. Matter of fact, I could not wait for them. I mean, I've probably showed them this movie when they were too young, like probably 5 and 7, because I couldn't wait to share all of the 80s movies with them. But I love it. I do think it holds up. I love it.
Amanda, you've been so insightful and like philosophical. Let's hear it.
I know.
I do too. I mean, I think it holds up, and I think I kind of have said this for movies before, especially like it holds its place in time. I think it's still funny and a little bit spooky and definitely has a sweet little story, and Gizmo's going to forever be precious, but it is unhinged just as the 80s are. Like that, I'm standing by that for sure.
Well,
Definitely.
I would say that I agree with you both, but what I love most about how it holds up, and I wish it would actually take over from today's scary movies, because I do love a little bit of scare. I'm not into the horror or any of that, but if this were made today, it would be blood and guts and gore and terrifying, where the way we got to see it and experience it, it was fun and a little scary, like throw your popcorn, but we still laughed and had fun with it. And I just don't think, now scary movies have gone from being scary to being like horrific.
Yeah.
And
really violent.
Yeah, really violent. And so it holds up well for me.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's our opinion on all of them. They're like, yeah, they hold up.
Yeah.
That's why we still love them.
That's why we're still watching them. Well, that was an absolute blast. But before we wrap up, we have to give a huge shout out to our amazing guest today, Amanda's best friend from elementary school, no longer enemies, Kelli McCloskey. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us and bringing your insights and your imitations to our Gremlins episode. We loved having you so much.
Yes, you were awesome. Thank you for all the fun, and thanks for making this episode extra special. We have to have you back again, so be thinking about what's next.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a blast, and I would love to do it again. So I hope that you guys will ask me back.
For sure.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time to rewind with us today. We loved revisiting these classics with you.
And if you've enjoyed season 1 and haven't left us a 5-star rating and review yet, we'd be so grateful if you did. It really helps more than you know.
We'll be back soon with brand new episodes and fresh picks for season 2. But until then,
keep enjoying the reruns and keep it real.